Hi everyone, good morning. My name is Chloe Parker. I am a sophomore at MSU and I'm studying to be a licensed practical counselor, specifically working with at-risk youth. I work for a nonprofit that does environmental work right now. I also just moved back to Colorado from Nevada. I am a peer counselor with the Rocky Mountain Coalition for Suicide Prevention and Wellness. I'm also on the Multicultural Diversity Board in Nevada, and I worked on a bill with Governor Sandoval 2 years ago to help alleviate the stresses of potential drug use in kids. A few fun facts about me: I have 4 dogs. I am double jointed, and my favorite color is red. So I can't wait to get to know you guys. I'm super excited. With that being said, let's dive in. The first risk factor that really stood out to me definitely had to be children in lower income areas or children in poverty. Mainly, I feel like these children are highly susceptible, like the reading said, to committing crime for financial gain or to have some stability. A lot of these kids will be more susceptible to committing crime, to get the new Air Jordans, to buy their school books, or just to have the prestige of having money and wealth in an area where there is very little or none at all. Also, tying into that, the second risk factor would be lack of education or access to education, which does go hand in hand with poverty. Education is very special to my heart personally. I deeply believe that education is the gateway to a better life, and without education, your opportunities are scarce. So youth that doesn't have these opportunities are definitely at a higher risk to commit crime as well, just because they don't have the opportunities to get jobs that will sustain their living or give them a livable wage. They don't have the knowledge and power to get out of certain situations or understand the ramifications of them. They also have very limited choices without education. And I feel that a quality education is a basic human right. However, according to the reading, the United States doesn't seem to think so, with 1 in 3 African American children not graduating high school and 3 out of 10 Hispanic children not graduating. And they don't graduate because they don't have access to quality education. Urban education doesn't have the same quality as affluent schools do. They don't have the resources, tied back into the money, to give to children that are falling behind academically, especially in reading, which I also found really shocking that a high percentage of our 4th to 8th grade students are not reading at grade level or computing at grade level, and a very high number of students drop out between 9th and 12th grade. And that really disheartened me and actually made me tear up, because I was always granted the right to my education, and to see those that are struggling, working 2, 3 jobs just to get by because they weren't afforded that in their youth is very heartbreaking. And the third risk factor is I think just dealing with the modern world. I grew up in the tech age myself, and I remember when I was in high school, just the pressure of dealing with not only people at school, but then it became online. So the bullying followed me home, and I felt really underwater. And up until a few years ago, there wasn't really a lot that people could do about cyberbullying because there wasn't laws on the books for it. But now there is, but it's still going to take some time for the law to catch up, and youth is susceptible because the anonymous aspect of it allows kids to say and do whatever they want and not really face a lot of consequences for it. I feel like a lot of kids feel braver behind a screen, and they're more likely to say things behind a computer screen than they would to your face. They're more likely to message you something nasty in a Facebook message but not actually say it to you. And those risk factors already put stress on a kid that may already have another exhibiting risk factor, such as a parent divorce, or they don't have quality care, or they are neglected or abused. These are all things that tie into one another, and I feel that technology can be a gateway to better things, to study, to obtain a better job, for self-betterment and growth, and kids aren't getting that side of it. They're getting the Snapchat, look at my selfie environment. So I deeply believe that that is a definite player and a risk factor. As for the TED Talk, I really believe that we need to make a line in the sand, a red line, letting everybody in the public eye know that juveniles are wired differently than adults. Juveniles' brains aren't fully functioning until they're 25. They're not fully developed. Kids are more susceptible to going with the flow. They are still developing, and they still want and need adult approval. They don't understand risk as well as adults do, and by nature they are risk takers. They don't understand the gravity of their actions, and the part of their brain that has reasoning, like I said, doesn't fully function until 25. We need to understand that they're highly emotional. They're going through a lot of physiological changes, mental changes, emotional changes, and that adults don't have these same problems. Youth also is in a very susceptible point where they are very trusting of authority figures. What was really stood out to me in the video was the use of good cop, bad cop. So the good part being, whatever you did, we can work through it. And kids wanting to believe that that's true, even if they didn't commit the crime, because they are terrified of the consequences. So I deeply believe that we do need some sensitivity training dealing with juveniles continuing on. The world is ever-changing place, and there is ever-changing circumstances that kids deal with. I can't wait to read your responses, and thank you so much, guys.